Here, let's talk about blending modes inside of Photoshop and blending modes of different layers. So right now I've got this image and it just has a background layer, and I'm going to take and combine it a different something over the top of it, right? So I could do this in a couple different ways. If I wanted to select everything or select all, I could choose edit copy, and I could copy that, and I could come over here to this image and choose edit paste, and I could paste it in there like that, right? So now that I've got this image pasted, and I wonder, well, when I pasted that in there, why did that come in so small? It looked so large over here and looked so small here. And that's because on this side, I notice this is showing right now at 19%. This image, if I double click on it, I'm going to revert that without that image in there, so back to its normal. But if I were to double click on that, this is looking at this image at 100%. And if I look at this one, this is already at 100%. So this is what that image looks at 100% because it was the scale. That way, if I select everything, select all, copy, and I go back over here and I put it in here, now you notice, oh, yeah, that looks right. It was the same thing. So the reason why that looked so small is because I was zoomed way out of this one. This one's got a lot more pixel dimension or resolution in it. So let's say that I wanted to combine these two again a different way. I want to go over here to window, arrange, two up. I want to see them both side by side. I could just take this image down here, this layer, and just drag it on top of this one, and just that would bring it over there as well. So now I have it in there. I think also if I were to select all, copy, and then paste inside of this image, it's just going to paste it in the center of wherever I've got it though. So let's see, undo that. Let's say select all, copy, move over to this image, paste. It's going to paste it in the center there of where I've got it. So you could do it a couple different ways, dragging and dropping or pasting. So I've got this in my clipboard. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to choose Command V. I'm going to paste that in there. Now I can combine these two in some sort of a multiple exposure. Multiple exposure might be, you think about when you've got old film cameras and maybe you take a picture and expose a piece of film in your camera, and without advancing to the next piece of film to take the next image, you might take another image over the same piece of film and combine those two things together, right? So I can kind of mimic that sort of style with blending modes and opacity. So if I were to take the opacity of this cracks image and kind of move that down, I notice, oh yeah, it kind of gives the cracks over the top of this. I kind of see through it there with this opacity. I can also choose this and choose different sort of blending modes. It's what these little pull down menus. I'm going to move my layers panel over so you can see all those. So if I were to grab my blending modes here, instead of opacity and just being able to see through this layer, I could choose, let's see, dissolve or darken, multiply, color burn. Just different ways for the pixels in one layer to interact with the ones that are underneath them. So if I go to soft light, I could do something like that. Now, I also noticed that, okay, well, I've got this, and maybe I wanted to combine over the entire image. I could take this layer just like I know how to do with Command T or edit, transform, scale, and I could scale this up, or edit, Command T, transform, and I could drag this up and make this really large and kind of combine these two images so that covers both. And then maybe I might even do some combination of the two and bring this cracks image down a little bit and back off the opacity of that underlying layer and just kind of combine the two. Sometimes you'll see people put dust and scratches, or there's a lot of different, if you want to go out and Google like different textures for multiple exposures, you can go and you could find that. And sometimes even a design, a website or a poster design or something, just sort of throwing some sort of texture over it with a blending mode can give it kind of a crafted look or a not so perfect look, and give it a little bit more personality. So this would be blending modes inside of Photoshop.